Good evening, friends. Today, I would like to bring to your attention a very important issue, which not only the islands, our country, and the world is facing. We're going through a very difficult time because of this COVID pandemic, and more than that, there are so many underlying issues and problems that the society faces. Some of them are quite visible. There are so many other issues which are not visible. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and this day reminds us about what's happening around us with suicides. Actually, each suicide is a personal tragedy, and taking lives prematurely because of various reasons. It can be social, economical, and mental pressure, stress. So many issues are connected with this. If you look at different factors, there are so many things like domestic issues. Uh, if normally what we do, we put it under an umbrella called unnatural deaths. It's not basically unnatural death. What leads to such kind of situation? We need to realize and where we are gone wrong, or why this trend is rising, and why we are not doing anything about it, or why we are not concerned about it. This is the most major issue. So today, I would like to uh, invite one of uh, my friend, mentor, and a very good motivational speaker who is well known in our island territory, Mr. Abhijit Agarwal. He's associated with so many organizations and schools, and he is conducting workshops, motivational workshops for students, teachers, and different strata of the society. So he's well connected with the ground, and he has the pulse. He knows the pulse of the people in the islands. So I would like to know from him why we are facing such a crisis, where for the last 3 years we look at the data from 2017 Andaman Nicobar Islands, our territory was in second position in the country as far as suicides were concerned. In 2018 and 19, the trend has changed. We have reached the top with last year it was 41 deaths per million, and this year it has reached 45. So we are actually on the top in the states and UTs in our country. So what makes Andaman so vulnerable? I want to know about it. Why people are taking their lives so lightly, and the numbers are very huge. The gap is also very high, and what are the measures that can be taken? These are all things which we can discuss. I would like to invite Abhijita to throw some light on it. Welcome, Abhijita, please.
Thank you, Zubair, for your kind words. I think a great introduction. I'm not privileged to some of the words that Zubair used. That's your fondness of me. But yes, I think it's a matter of concern that we are not actually aware of what is happening around. If you come down to the moral of the story at the very beginning, that it's very unfortunate that in a place like Andamans, we call it the Emerald Andamans. Some of them, if you go by terminology, though logistically it is quite remote, but I think the connect to a family is still very great here. Here, that bonding within a family is still great here. Even now, people know each other by name, and the personal connect is still there, which has probably eroded over the years, no doubt, but it is still there. And even under such situation where you have the nature's bounty all around, you don't have the cement concrete structure still over pervading us. If we are on the top and probably at 4.5 times the national average, it's alarm bells ringing very loudly. And I would personally feel, with my small experience, that I think we need to start talking. there is still that stigma of holding back things, holding back because of some issues. Maybe, as you very rightly said, could be financial, could be domestic, or could be apprehension of being shunned out by the civil society. Even that could be the reason, because everybody is known to each other. That's in a way sometimes a disadvantage. But I don't think that's the way that the problem should be looked at. We need to get talking, and the best part of this is like a dialogue being initiated. If anyone is aware of somebody with any such suicidal tendencies or inclinations, care must be taken, and it's just not medicine. It's just simple talking to that person. So we should be aware of whoever is going down. As it is, the lockdown has probably brought in a great depression among many. Many of my own good friends, even in mainland India, very well settled, but now because of some reason into depressions. But we need to think. That's something which is still lacking here. People are still afraid to talk out in the open, afraid to express one's own feelings to others. There is still that inclination among individuals to hold back, to remain into that introvert shell.
Can I just
Probably we need to push them a little bit.
Can I interpret?
Yes, sir.
See, is this because of the society which actually doesn't accept or doesn't realize or recognize such kind of issues like depression or mental illness, or even the kind of delusional issues with people who are aged? Okay, there are different layers to it. Is it because of the fear of the society they don't talk about it, or is the society not aware of these things, how to handle it?
Could be both ways, where it would depend on individual cases. Undoubtedly, there is a role that the overall machinery has to play, but there is an equally important role that the society has to play. We are, after all single individuals, but bound by a society.
Yeah.
And we ourselves lay down the norms and principles by which we are bound. We cannot expect somebody to impose those things on us. And in a place like Andamans, if you talk of Port Blair primarily first, I think, okay, the remoteness has gone over a period of time. We are now quite well connected with mainland India and other parts of the world now. But probably if you go down to the remote islands down south, if you go down to Hut Bay or the Nicobar group of people, which are very isolated, there, I think the problem is different. The angle of dealing it would be different, because probably after 2:30, 3 o'clock, they have nothing to do basically. Very little entertainment value for them. Nothing to do beyond in the evening hours. Mainland, you have access to going to a theater, you have access to going to a shopping mall, spending some time, you have access to cinema halls, or going around. You have a lot of friends with whom you can go for a long drive for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. All these things are missed here. We have a different set of parameters which are to our advantage. But when you talk of people with inclinations of going ahead to take the extreme step of taking up one's own life, I think these small things add up, and they really matter. They really matter. So it's a both ways paraphernalia, like the individual society, the civil society, as well as the overall machinery. Both have to plan and ensure that there are measures taken for awareness, and that this is not an illness. This is just a condition which can be prevented or which can be averted also.
Yeah. So I was just going through the report by National Crime Report Bureau, which they have released very recently, in which accidental deaths and suicides in India 2019. In one of the table, they have mentioned that under the number of suicides due to illness, okay, that is very high in Andamans. Okay, we come in second number. First is Sikkim with 100 suicides because of illness, and the share is, means all India share is 45.5%. Okay, Andaman Nicobar Islands has got 61 cases of suicide because of illness. Okay, this is something very alarming, uh, because it's not just about other issues like domestic issues, or there are so many other reasons that they give, like fall in social reputation, or suspected illicit relationship, that is one other issue. Then death of some dear person, property dispute, unemployment, failure in examinations, bankruptcy, marriage related issues, failure, love failure, and so drug abuse, alcoholism. These are all issues which normally contribute to suicide. Okay, but in our case, large the large number of deaths has happened, suicide has happened because of illness. This is something, no, which is
Wow.
very difficult to comprehend. Why is it happening at such
Illness
a
means,
large number?
would you,
People with
are you trying to
disease,
mean
people with disease,
grave diseases?
yeah, diseases,
Okay.
yeah, and they don't want to,
Okay.
actually they don't want to live because they're ill, because of their illness.
Okay. So this is again, as we are coming up in the discussion, I think this problem has a different angle altogether. When you say people not wanting to live because of illness, then it's like a giving up attitude. Then,
Yeah,
ki, okay, there is nothing more that can be done about it. So in that case, I think these such people need to be identified. If there are people with grave diseases where there are possibilities of such people, if not today, maybe in the near future, may be inclined towards such steps, they need to be identified and monitored gradually, or people should start talking to them.
yes,
Probably trained psychologists, or just a common man also. Sometimes you don't need a training to talk to people.
yes,
It's just maybe a casual inquiry, maybe loneliness. Some people may be very ill and very lonely also at the same time. So now nobody to look after on their own, because may not be having immediate family. So
yeah,
probably again awareness. We would come back to the same point. I think general awareness needs to be created that people are not alone. They should be made to feel at home, whether they have family or not. I think our islands are have that rich heritage of having one big family concept. I
point
still
out.
remember people talking about one family in Chennai, the TSG family, where anybody from Andamans was welcome to walk in. If they had ships after 7 days, 10 days, they
Yeah,
could stay there at that home.
yeah,
No questions asked. Only point was they should be from Andamans. They are traveling to Andamans or coming from Andamans. So I think that's something we must look forward and revive those things.
yeah,
And probably we need to have role models in the society. I personally feel we lack role models in the society, civil society here. People who would start talking to people, motivating people, or ensuring that they don't give up on life. It's a one time life. It's very easy to take that step,
yeah,
but I'm sure if those people survive after their attempt, they would also repent having taken that step if somebody talks to them. So I think personally, if you ask me, I would also have that personal guilt that I'm not able to speak to such people. I would love to speak to such people. If there is some initiative or some endeavor, if we can probably make up that endeavor from civil society to identify such people and make sure that all of us start talking to them, nothing else, no medication or anything, just simple talking, I think a lot of changes can come forward. And
see,
medical facility, I think, where over the years it has improved. Now we have a full-fledged medical college, better doctors.
yeah,
Always there is room for improvement, but I think long way we have traveled already.
yeah. See, when we talk about illness, suicide, no, suicide because of illness, there is some one area where I think we are lacking. Like if you go to some states like Kerala and all, where I often visit, I've seen that they have got this palliative care for terminally ill patients. Okay,
Terminal ill.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Palliative care, they don't need anything. You have to take care of them. Okay,
Care.
pain,
Exactly.
pain is one thing. Pain and palliative care. Okay, that kind of institutions are not there in the islands. We don't have single institution. Okay, there are so many people who will be at home for last 20, 30 years bedridden. Okay, they get fed up with what is happening around them, and
Very true.
maybe it's not that the family is not taking care of them. They themselves feel that no, we have become a burden on them. Okay, that mental attitude, okay, that's one thing. And moreover, we need to have some kind of an institutional setup for this thing, where people with such kind of illness, they don't need, it's not about medication, or it's not about the care they get at home. It's more about so many people of same nature coming together, sharing a lot of things, and staying at a place where people take care of them. Okay, it's not that they are all been totally discarded in the society. Okay, but still, if you find cases of suicides in the islands, from far-flung islands also, when you hear about something, no, it's like, no, he took his life just because he was undergoing treatment for last 10 years, 12 years, and then he took his life just just to just as an escape from it. Okay, so I think some kind of an intervention, like a palliative care center, okay, or a pain care center and all. This thing for terminally ill patients, and we should be having some kind of a database of such patients, like you told, and have a
Very true.
follow up with that. Have some volunteers who regularly do visit them and give them some kind of a hope to live. Okay, and how it has to come, whether it has to come from the civil society, or it should be government and civil society initiative. What do you think about it? Is there any can we have some kind of initiative like
I
this in
think
islands?
you hit the nail at the right direction. Palliative care. I was probably looking for the word, but exactly we viewed the right point. I think that's something the islands need, and definitely we cannot look upon the government to do everything. It has to be a joint endeavor. Definitely, the administrative machinery has a big role to play, but the civil society also, we need people from civil society to come forward also in this direction, because when there is a joint effort, I'm sure things take shape in a better way. It's easier for the society to absorb those things, but definitely in the need of the hour, that we need a palliative care institution or a framework in place in the society. And as you very rightly pointed out, I think when you say that after 10 years of treatment, people get fed up and want to just escape from that thing, I would probably add something little more to that. It probably, as you said, one more word, burden. A person starts feeling himself as a burden on the immediate family. Though the family may not feel that way, but the person himself starts feeling that I am a burden on them. So this only can be removed from the mindset of the person when there are people outside the family talking to them. Because in the family, those things may not settle into the mind, because they're looking after them or talking to that person day in, day out. You need an outsider to intervene here, a third party intervention, somebody who's not known to them, or somebody who's close to them but not in that family itself. I think that's needed, and that's where you, when you say a palliative care institutional framework, yes, definitely need of the hour. And if civil society can come up on its own, I'm sure the government would also chip in some way. Or if the government starts it on its own, I'm sure the civil society will also respond. So why wait? I think any one of the two segments could probably take this up. Definitely.
Actually, we should, don't you think that, no, like the trend that is, see, this is for last 10 years also. If you take, we are always in one number one, two, or three. Okay, in suicide. Sometimes it is Kerala over us, or Pondicherry over us, or we are above these two states. This is always like, now I've seen for last 2 years. So Sikkim has also entered it. It's like Sikkim, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Karnataka, Goa, and Kerala. This some of the coastal states. So it's, I don't know why. Uh, these are all coastal states, and is there something called an island mindset in this one? Okay, what I feel, when you are in an island, see, when we talk about Kalapani and all, okay, Kalapani itself gives you that feeling that you cannot escape from this place. Okay, like death is always people and see when you want to leave, you need to have an escape. Okay, if you are facing a lot of problems in one place, your movement from that place or you just displace from that place, your displacement itself helps. So okay, I can give you an example. If somebody is facing a problem in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, he will take a train and go to Bombay. He'll just
Very true.
escape from that
Very
place.
true. Yes.
Okay, and then
Yes.
he'll have a different life there. दिस इज ट्रेन करके
Exactly.
चला गया, बॉम्बे चला गया या वहां चला गया, just ran away from home. See, this running away from home, this actually gives some hope for them, and that they already have that channel. Okay, in islands what happens, you need to board a ship to go somewhere. Okay, that's again crossing a sea, and you're already bound by sea. Okay, all surrounded by sea. Does this actually impact our psyche as
Yes, definitely.
islander?
I fully agree with you. Yes, because that tagline of Kalapani still remains. You still people. There are people who still call this Kalapani, and still we hear people saying mainland and island. We are still away from the mainland. So we need to be a part of the mainstream. In that case, suppose you want to travel right now, you cannot travel. You have no option to travel. When you gave the example of traveling from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, at dead of night, 2 o'clock also, he can pick up his own car or he can hire a car and leave station. We cannot do that. That's a mindset block there. A logistics block is there. If you need to take a ship, there is a fixed time. Maybe every third day or fourth day, you will get a ship to travel inter-island. Or maybe for if you need to go to Chennai or Kolkata by a ship, maybe once in a week only now at this present time.
Yeah.
It's not so there. That mobility factor in the mindset, even if one does not travel, he's aware that yes, if need arises, he can leave this particular moment. That's not there here.
Yeah.
That probably also underplays the human psyche.
Yeah.
That yes, he's isolated. Something happens, there's nobody to take care. That fear psychosis may be a part of it. I am not a specialist in that, but
Yeah.
it could be a reason. If somebody is terminally ill, he knows there is nothing more to do. He's been treated for last 7 years or 8 years here. So he cannot today suddenly, if he goes bad, he cannot travel to immediately.
Yeah.
So why not better end it here? But that's not the solution. We need to start talking, Zubair.
Yeah.
I think the first step, the baby step, rather than climbing the first floor at a go, let us take the first step. Let's start identifying such people and let's start talking. Whosoever is aware of such people, let that person talk and bring that person out of the shell. Such people, if they have those tendencies, would like to go back into themselves. They go back into a cocoon. We need to take them out of that cocoon. Very important.
Yeah, one more thing which I would like to know. See, how much is see, we have got the consumption of liquor in the islands is very high. Okay,
Very
that's
high.
yeah, very high because per capita consumption is very high, and for various reasons. And then if you look at the revenue part of it and all, Andaman Nicobar Islands, if you see the corporation which actually supplies it, if you look at the revenue model they have, I think 80% of their profit is from liquor. Okay, and the consumption is by the islanders and the tourists who visit here. Okay, so much of liquor, and then you have drugs also in the islands. Okay, drugs are also there, and see how much it is affecting our youth. Okay, and how where it will lead the society. Okay, because these are all a kind of an escape. Okay, from something. Okay, see when we talk about, no, we don't have entertainment facilities in the islands. There are no many options for the islanders, so they get into liquor and all other things. Okay, but do you think uh, allowing so much of alcoholism in the islands? Okay, and now you see during the
Uh,
lockdown there was shops were closed. Okay, so many shops were closed, and then there was a demand. Okay, demand will be always there and supply is already there, so all this thing happens. Okay, but do you think these are also contributing to suicides in the islands?
uh, I don't know. It's a very tricky question to answer, a very tricky and very delicate thing to answer or comment on.
Yeah.
But stopping liquor consumption or liquor store, not opening liquor stores or reducing the liquor intake may not probably add much to it. If my personal view on that, because the more you restrict, if you don't give them good liquor, they'll probably start making their own illicit liquor. That's have been happening everywhere else in the country also. Wherever there is restriction, people find ways and means to start extracting illicit liquor, and that's probably more of a tragedy than a recourse later on. But yes, okay, awareness. As you said, if I am not wrong, the consumption of income among the lower strata of the society here, if you talk of the daily wage earner, I think among them nearly 60 to 70% of their entire earnings goes into the liquor shops here. If I am not wrong, I am giving you a very vague estimate maybe.
Yeah.
And that probably the entire family runs on that balance 30 or 40%. So the quality of life that that wage earner is giving to the family is probably half of what actually that person is entitled or has the potential to give, only because he's addicted to liquor. That's the only reason. So if you take it from that perspective, okay, yes, when liquor is freely available and one is probably spending more than half of his income on liquor and not taking care of the family, all the issues are bound to come in. Domestic violence will come in, dissatisfaction will come in, and what not after that. All the paraphernalia sets in. Again, here, I think a lot of talking by NGOs comes into. The NGOs who are working in the islands, they need to start talking to these people, making them aware of what is possible, what is not possible. But this is a very, very difficult area to work on, because you are dealing with people who are addicted. So taking them out of that room,
Yeah.
it's a big uphill task. Big uphill task.
Very true.
You have on every cigarette packet, the government has given a picture saying cigarette smoking is harmful to your health.
Yes.
And every movie starts with that Akshay Kumar ad. Every movie, every damn movie starts with that ad. Yet you find people smoking, educated people smoking and puffing their way out.
Yeah.
So very tricky area. This ultimately boils down on personal determination, on one's own willpower,
Yeah.
and then probably how you look at your own life, basically. How you look at your own life. It's one life. I remember, I recollect a word I think I shared with you a long time back, that there's a Japanese word called ikigai.
Yeah.
Ikigai, I-K-I-G-A-I, ikigai, which means why you should wake up tomorrow, that you look forward to a tomorrow. I think we need to make people understand or find their ikigai in life, their purpose in life. That's one thing that probably would, over a period of time, reduce all these problems. But a very difficult and uphill task for sure.
Coming back to the first issue, like Andaman is still leading, okay, and the suicide rate is very high compared to the national average and all. And Andaman Nicobar Islands, where people know each other, most of them know each other, okay, and it's a very closed community. The whole islands, okay, I'm not talking about particular communities and all. The whole island is like a small town, okay, where people know each other. In such case, why are we failing to address this issue, where we are like a big joint family, okay? Andaman Nicobar Islands itself is a joint family. Because anything which happens in Protrapur or in Campbell Bay, I know the person, I know the people there, what has happened to them and everything. Okay, we keep all this information is there with us. Unlike a metropolitan city or a big any other state. Okay, so still, okay, with such kind of a closed environment, why we are unable to connect with people?
I think we are going towards the metro cities with a very fast pace. If you go back, say 10 years, 20 years or 30 years down the line, I think there is a lot of change, sociologically, a lot of change or evolution that these islands have seen. And if you ask me personally, when 15, 20 years back, if I was traveling to Kolkata, half the flight would be known people. Or if I was coming back from Kolkata or Chennai, you would know practically everybody who's sitting in that entire flight. Today, you have to hunt for people. Probably ikka dukka, one or two people you will know. The rest 150 are all new faces and you don't even know them. So that means that Connect, which was a USP of this place, as you said, we came here in '84, and I still remember uh, people used to remember each other by the number of their car.
Yes.
So if Zubair Ahmed's car number was AN64, your identification was not Zubair Ahmed. He would say AN64 was जिनका गाड़ी है वो Zubair. Today, not possible. Not possible. So, and this is, I think, something not very peculiar to Ireland. Every place today, if you go to a big city, you don't know somebody who's staying across in the next flat, across the door, the next door. People don't connect to them. This island also, I think, is proceeding towards that place at a very fast pace. One more very, very important aspect, I've been dealing with students in the secondary and the higher secondary level or some part of college level over these years. And I've seen that the cream of the students, the population of this, so the student population of this island, they leave the island once they pass their class 10 or class 12. They leave the island. And once they leave, they don't come back. Very few of them come back, because they either go to some other part in the country or they go outside the country. So once they go out, they don't want to come back. They probably would come back once in a year or maybe once in 6 months. But really, heart to heart, very few of them come back. This is one thing which has been irritating me or bothering me for the last 10, 12 years. And I've been speaking to a lot of people. And the response that I got was, there are no opportunities for them here. This was the response earlier. And that was one reason why you would see, like you would see in Chennai, if you go to do a demographic analysis in the southern parts, you would see that the population of people who are in their late 40s or early 50s is much higher than the population who are in range of 20-25, because all the sons and daughters are either in the US or elsewhere. The parents are there only. So if you correlate these two factors, you come back to the word of loneliness. The father and the mother, the two about to be senior citizens. I think our group, we are about to be senior citizens. So growing in number, and the children all away. So that connect of a family is disintegrating gradually. It is breaking up. Breaking up because the children have to leave for their career or looking for greener pastures. But I think the island also has a tremendous potential. We need to understand that if you check out on the Google or elsewhere, there are people who are leaving plush careers after doing their IIT, IIM and going into agriculture, going into very non-obscure jobs and making up success stories. So we need such success stories to be emulated here on ground. Andaman needs these success stories to be told repeatedly. We need role models to come and speak to the young generation, saying that there is potential here. If you have to look for it, you have to look out for opportunities and develop them, not just leave it like this. It is like just leaving it and going away. I think this has to be thought of on that line also.
Okay, it was nice talking to you about this very serious issue. This is just one step towards bringing into the fore some issues that remain under the carpet. Nobody wants to touch it, or we don't want to talk it because it doesn't give a very good vibe, because we are talking about suicide and prevention of suicide and the status of suicide in the islands. Okay, anyway, there are so many things which can be done, not just by the government. The civil society has got a big role, as you said.
Definitely.
There is a need for such kind of platforms to come. People should come together and work towards this, because this is it's a very small place, and people all know each other, it's not very difficult to identify people also and address the issues. So thank you very much, Ajita, for this.
Thank you, Zubair. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the best.
Sure.
Umeed pe duniya kaayam hai. Let's hope for the best. Things will work out. Thank you very much. Take care.